fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rhythm, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my God! Oh. Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
It's very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Welcome to OZICAR Formula V and welcome back to where it all started, Oulton Park, but this time on the island historic layout for round 6 to decide our inaugural OZICAR Formula Vee Series champion. It's going to be the regular format tonight. 2 races with a compulsory pit stop in race number 2. Long qualifying session for race number 1, but shootout qualifying for race number 2. For all of the action here tonight on SimSpeed TV, I'm David Haynes, and as always, joined by the delightful Reese Gardner. Reese, back at Oulton Park, but a slightly different layout.
Yes, indeed. We're running the island circuit for this final round of the first season of OZICAR Formula V, and one driver tonight is going to be going home with a trophy made by Prestige Trophy. Go to prestigetrophy.com.au, supporter of this series. We've also got Simfinity, the Locked On iRacing podcast, and 24/7 Race Control with us for this series. But that's how the standings look at the moment. Cameron Dance by 29 points over Lee Partridge. If Cameron Dance does not finish the first race and Partridge wins, then the title will be decided in race 2. But everything else notwithstanding, it seems like Cameron is the favourite to take it home.
Certainly you would think so. Look at that, down at 8th and 9th, tied on 300 points between Dennis Hancock and Paul Jackson, and they're both just 2 points ahead of Stuart Crawford as well, though. So we'll see. We've got a big grid of Formula V's once again, so no matter the championship outcome, I'm sure we're going to see some interesting racing, but of course, a lot of our focus on that championship fight tonight. Can Cam Dance keep his head, keep his legs under him, and take what should be a pretty slam dunk championship win, as long as he can just score some points in both races. All that to be decided shortly across our 2 races. You can see the format there. Race 1 is coming up very, very shortly. They're about to start gridding, and that will just be a 15-minute sprint in these Formula V's. Then we have shootout qualifying, 1 hot lap, 1 chance, 1 opportunity, sees everything you ever wanted if it's pole position for race 2, in that 30-minute race with a required compulsory pit stop tyre change. So let's look then as they're starting to line up on the grid for race 1 at the grid, and it is Cam Dance, championship leader on pole, and not even by a small amount there. Look at that, almost 4/10 ahead of Chris Noble, then Martin Turner, Lee Partridge, Daniel Hederscheid, Sean Mckenzie, our top 6. Behind them is Jamie Skeller, Mikey Highland, Kirk Broadhurst, Dennis Hancock, Jackie Chalmers, and Jeremy Bush, our top 12.
Nick Skariev's going to start out of Lucky 13 in car 44. He's starting alongside Russ Green. Stuart Crawford and Mitch Dean share the 8th row of the grid, and then it's Nathan Verney for the Locked On Boys with Vic Bentbilzen in 18th place. Max Donnelly and Rick Berger round out the top 20. Max, of course, streaming live on his Twitch channel. Then rounding out the top 24, we've got Mick Taylor, Callum Heinrich, Leon Williams, and Sean Carey. The field rounded out by Aidan Schultz, Paul Jackson, our series organizer Ira Felberg, Paul Ward, and Matthew Joy starting out this field. It's a bit less of a turnout than we've seen in previous OZICAR Formula V rounds, but still a good complement of cars here as we race for the second time at Oulton Park.
Yeah, and still a much bigger grid than you're going to see in official rookie racing with these cars, where they're restricted to give or take 12 cars on the grid for those short races. We still have 29 lining up for race number 1 here, and you can see in black there, Cam Dance has just taken to the grid for his pole position. 20 seconds or so of gridding remaining before they've got to do their standing start, and boy do we see a little bit of change when they launch in these cars as well. Some drivers get away very well, others not so much. If you start to get swallowed up on the start, and in a short 9-lap sprint like this, you could find yourself going backwards and getting yourself into trouble. So here they are. The lights are going to come on. Our drivers are going to be ready. Someone's missing back there. Looks like it could be Mikey Harlan, but it's not going to worry anyone else. It's not going to worry Cam Dance as he gets away well. Chris Noble, though, with that poor start, immediately being swallowed up. Martin Turner, Lee Partridge trying to come around the outside of him in turn one. A lot of smoke, a lot of cold tires. Your championship leader through cleanly. They're battling too wide behind, and that's even more smoke and contact. One of the locked-on cars around, and 2 or 3 cars have come together and picked up some damage already.
Yeah, they have indeed. It looks like that was Stuart Crawford getting turned by Mitch Dean that started off all of that. Poor Nathan Verney had nowhere to go on the outside there, but the race continuing. Mikey Harland actually disconnected, incoming packet loss, so that is an internet issue there for him. Hopefully he can get back out there tonight as back up the inside of Lee Partridge goes Martin Turner, and Chris Noble, all he can do is watch on as there's further problems further back. Aiden Schultz just getting going there as trying around the outside of Knickerbrook corner is going to be Lee Partridge. Martin Turner still has an overlap, but just slots in behind as they go through this epic right-hander that's been there since the 1960s. Fantastic circuit here at Oulton Park, and we raced on the Foster's layout for round 2, which means this section of the circuit is where some of the big moves are going to be made into the Druids double right-hander.
Yep, Island historic. Historic means no chicane, so you saw the kind of speed they carried on the back straight there, really slipstreaming up close to each other. None of them close enough to Cam Dance there. He's got 1.4 seconds over Partridge and Turner, and they work together to try to close that one up. Behind, Noble going door to door with Daniel Hederscheid, and they're going to be side by side coming up to complete lap 1 of 9. Cam Dance still getting away. 2nd and 3rd still working together. 4th and 5th on back. I think it's all bets off.
Absolutely. Hederscheid's now at the front of this pack with Noble just trailing behind, going a bit into the runoff there, a few cars. That'll add a few incident points to the tally, but Mckenzie, Skeller, Broadhurst, you could probably include Dennis Hancock in all of this as well, starting to form a train, and just trailing off the back of it is Nick Skariev, who's kept himself nice and easy there in 10th place, making up 3 positions on the start. The big losers, as they come into the island hairpin, a little bit of a door open for Daniel Hederscheid, but he did not take it. Noble having to run wide there versus Mckenzie, and it looks like a missed shift from Daniel Hederscheid. Some drivers go into 2nd gear for that right-hand hairpin, and the upshift is where things really start to come undone if you get it wrong. Unfortunately, Mckenzie's going to have to back out of this one because Hederscheid and Noble on both sides of the track, nothing doing there.
Noble around the outside, a good move, but you can see how much time it's cost them to Partridge and Martin ahead. Sean Mckenzie still trying to stick this down the inside for Hederscheid, and Jamie Skeller watches on. We ride on board with him. A double right-hander you mentioned here. Hederscheid in really hot around the outside, trying to grab that spot away, and you know what? Almost looks like it's worked, and it's Mckenzie on the defense now. Skeller looking one way, looking the other. It's going to have to be around the outside for the final corner. This time, I think he just runs out of space on that one. Further back, this is a bit of action here. Callum Heinrich battling for 20th with Mick Taylor, Nathan Verney, Paul Ward. Everyone's in there, but they are going to be side by side to the final corner as well.
Just going side by side there, those two. Vic Benfelsen, it looks like, has had a bit of an off, just coming out of the final corner. It looks to me like he's done that by himself. He ended up catching the grass on the outside of the curb and just went spinning. For 2nd, though, Martin Turner attempting up the inside of Lee Partridge. Is this going to work out for the Chicken Up Racing driver? Lee Partridge has the title to think about. He wants to stay within that couple of seconds of Cameron Dance so that if something happens to the leader, he's right there to take advantage. Remember, if Dance DNFs this first race, then the title battle is on until the final checkered flag of the season.
So Partridge still holding on to 2nd. Callum Heinrich came into some trouble somewhere. He was spun out and I think collected. We are going to get the VRS replay. Take a look at poor Callum Heinrich. He's trying to come around the outside here towards the Cascades, I believe it is. He's in potentially a little hot, loses the rear, spun around on the corner, rolling back, and that's when I think, oh my goodness, it's not his own teammate, is it?
Yeah, goodness me.
No, No, Bet Veltzen gets through cleanly. Someone else's collected Heinrich. Might have been Rick Berger. Yep.
Yeah, looks like it. Berger losing his front right there. That's a shame, though, for Mr. Heinrich, but that's something you got to look out for in these Formula V cars. They turn very, very well off throttle, so into those sweeping corners, you got to be right and ready. Keep the steering input nice and smooth, as minimal as you can, and be ready to get back on the throttle if you feel the rear start to come round. The battle for 6th place, meanwhile, Skeller, Mckenzie, Broadhurst, Hancock, all within 4/10 of each other. And I'm enjoying this fight, but we'll see if they're able to catch back up to Noble and Hedderscheid up ahead, because they have started to form their own 4-car pack with Turner and Partridge. So there's still a long line of drivers here chasing for those positions in the top 10.
Certainly more moves through that hairpin on this island historic layout. Jackie Chalmers, 12th right now, taking that 12th away. Started 11th on the grid, but this is side by side between Mckenzie and Skeller. And Mckenzie around the outside. This group is starting to lose touch with those in front. In fact, not a great run up the hill for Skeller there either. And now Kirk Broadhurst slots in and then has to try to hold it around the outside. Oh, not happening there. Skeller must have thrown it in pretty deep, and they're all single file once again. Mckenzie on the defense from Skeller, Broadhurst and Hancock. The 4-car battle in front of them as well. They're too wide, too deep right here. Sensibly on the back of that. Nick Scariam doesn't want to go too wide through this just yet, as we've crossed the halfway point of the race for the sprint race number 1. There's 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th, all navigating through turn 1. Some turn in early, some turn in late, some track out really wide, which you can do in a sprint race, but you couldn't do all day in a longer race if you're worried about the incident points. So these are some of the packs that we've got going on for the minute. None of them able to catch Cam Dance with now a 3-second lead.
Yeah, Dance seems pretty unstoppable in this race at the moment. Chalmers, Bush and Green all in a trio here, and Jeremy Bush was the guy we saw Jackie Chalmers getting by just before, and he wants that position back, but wanting 2nd or 3rd position there is Chris Noble around the outside of Martin Turner. A bit more shuffling there. Broadhurst, it looks like, has gotten past Jamie Skeller. So Broadhurst trying to back up his podium that he took at Oulton Park in round 2. See how he goes further on tonight. But, oh, that's some drama for the leaders.
Dad's around.
Oh, my goodness.
He's getting a lot of positions here. How damaged is the car? All he needed to do was not this. He's getting it pointed the right way again. All 4 wheels are on, appear to be facing the right way. Where is he going to rejoin? He's now dropped down into 14th. We have to know what happened there. He was all by himself. He was in the lead, seconds clear, just counting down the laps. And Cam Dance then spun it facing the wrong way. Here it is.
Looks to me like he just took a little bit too much grass in the middle of Knickerbrook, because you've got that road where the Foster's chicane comes back onto the racetrack. Have a look at this. Just gets over the curb, that unsettles the car, and around he goes. So I don't think he's in too much danger for the title at this point. Very lucky there, and good presence of mind to back it out of the racing line. That's right on the exit of a very fast corner. But I think it's not entirely over here for Cam Dance. He is still circulating there in 14th place. He should still be able to pick up enough points to deny Lee Partridge. But Partridge, of course, now into the lead of this one and having to really defend against Martin Turner, Chris Noble and Daniel Hedderscheid, who now realise they're in competition for a win here.
Yeah, this is going to turbocharge this particular little battle here, isn't it? Suddenly, they're no longer battling over podium positions. They're battling for what's going to be the win between Partridge and Noble and Turner and Hedderscheid here. So Lee Partridge is leading the race, but this is only going to turn up the intensity from Martin Turner and those behind him. Want to steal the win away from him. This pack of 4 appear to still be a clean break from the cars behind for the moment. It's going to be 3 laps to go when they get to the line. So it'll be between all of these 4, but if it really all kicks off now, don't rule out Mckenzie and Skeller and those in the background being able to catch, because they only need to lose 2 seconds up at this front pack, and then suddenly it's an all-in Royal Rumble.
Absolutely, but if they keep that up, Mckenzie and Skeller there, it's Not going to happen anytime soon. He's given Broadhurst another run here, and Skeller, of course, to the front of this pack now. So these guys have been shuffling around quite a bit in the last few laps. Dennis Hancock just slotting in there behind Kirk Broadhurst. No sense in trying to go for a big move at turn 1, especially considering that you've still got 3 laps to go here at Oulton Park. Seems like everyone just keeping themselves nice and calm for the time being. Nick Skariev still holding on to the back of that pack, but Chris Noble trying to size up a move there on Lee Partridge. Partridge going straight for the inside of the corner, and Martin Turner having to take some avoiding action, now in a bit of trouble with Daniel Hederscheid.
It has caused just a little bit of a check-up at the front pack here. Closes down the gap a little bit between 4th and 5th. But laps and time are still running out. Turner slipstreaming his way into 3rd. This corner that apparently can be a little treacherous if you get too much of the apex, and you'll run it up towards the curb on the exit, but no further. And there's a little bit of a ridge on the far side of the curb there as well that Dance almost tobogganed himself, almost got beached on there. But he did manage to find enough traction, enough reverse gear to get off that. And he's now back up into 12th place, trying to grab 11th place away. So his fire has not been put out whatsoever. He's gone from 14th to 13th to 12th. Now looking down the inside for 11th place. And I think it's safe to say he's got that one. This, though, not for the lead, but the pack behind, battling over 5th place. Skeller still holding up Mckenzie and Broadhurst and Hancock. Only 2 to go now.
And then we'll be in for the final half hour of the season's racing. Mckenzie around the outside of Skeller, just backs out around the outside of turn 1. Skeller catches a bit too much curb and goes out into the runoff, but it doesn't stymie his run all that much. He's safe for position for now, but Kirk Broadhurst is going to be right there to take advantage as Martin Turner defending now against Daniel Hederscheid. It looks to me like it's Noble versus Partridge for the win at the moment. Down into the hairpin, the island hairpin they go once again. Partridge doing all right there. Noble running a bit wide on exit. That allows Martin Turner alongside as Jamie Skeller gets up the inside of Mckenzie once again. Nick Skariev just spinning behind those guys with Broadhurst now getting the position, as it looks like that might be a missed shift from Sean Mckenzie. He's completely lost pace out of the corner.
Yeah, so now Partridge clear in the lead, not clear away in the lead, but not worried about this 3-car battle here now, as Turner and Noble have boxed in Daniel Hederscheid, who's got nowhere to go right here except around the outside. Switch back to the inside to try to take a spot away from the chicken pushing. Hits the curb, nearly gets out sideways, nearly wheel-to-wheel contact. Could have been catastrophe for these two fighting for a podium position, but Lee Partridge now 1.8 seconds clear, coming through the final corner right now. He's going to start the final lap with 1.8 seconds of lead, and the battle is now over 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Partridge just needs to bring it home for one clean lap.
That's all he needs as Noble defends from Turner. But Turner getting the run on the exit. They almost make contact wheel to wheel, these two. They're pushing each other very hard. Hederscheid, of course, is going to be there to exploit if either one of them makes a mistake. Turner has to let Noble go down the inside. That allows Hederscheid alongside him, but Turner will have the defensive line for the hairpin. How hard does he push into there? Noble realizes, you know, they're probably going to vault one up the inside if I'm not careful. I'm just going to cover it for the time being. Runs a little wide, he does, and that allows Turner alongside again. Turner seems to really love that tight line through the hairpin.
I just get a really good bit of rotation there, be able to stamp the throttle early in one of the shorter gears. So there they are, all in a down the hill. Hederscheid's taking a look. Really fast part of the track. Fast if you go single file, not fast if you're too wide like that. Look at how much momentum they both lose before this uphill, before this long run towards Druids Corner. It's cost them both dearly. Look at Chris Noble scuttle away for 2nd place. 3rd and 4th, not decided. Lee Partridge looking good for the win. Chris Noble now looking good for 2nd. Skeller and Broadhurst. Broadhurst has gotten his nose in front there as well. One more corner for Lee Partridge. Last roll of the dice for the championship. Trying to take the win in sprint race here. Close the gap to Cam Dance. Is it going to be enough? We'll find out when we see where Cam Dance finishes. But Partridge is going to grab a win in the sprint race to try to keep his championship hopes alive. The podium is going to be completed by Noble and Martin Turner in almost dead heat with Daniel Hederscheid. Here comes Cam Dance. He's looking at two other drivers, but he's not going to be able to get around Max Donnelly and Nick Scariev, and Dance is going to finish in 11th.
Yeah, you talked about that dead heat between Hederscheid and Turner. It looks like Hederscheid was the one that got the position in the end by a bit less than a tenth of a second there, which is awesome to see. Great battling there on the final lap. Here's the Virtual Racing School replay between Hederscheid and Turner. Turner did have a bit of a run here out of the final corner, but just not enough momentum to carry his way past Daniel Hederscheid. And Hederscheid was also benefited there by the track curving to the left. He was able to take the shorter line along there and just secure that podium position.
Yep, and then of course obviously some close battles behind there as well. That looks like, well, what happened here? So does Broadhurst still hold on to that one ahead of Skeller?
He does.
Oh, well, only just, and they're also side by side with Dennis Hancock there. So almost a three-wide photo finish over what was fifth place as well. Some great racing in that 15-minute sprint. Let's look at the official results. So the winner, of course, was Lee Partridge from fourth on the grid. Not a bad result at all. Chris Noble, Daniel Hederscheid completing the podium there. Martin Turner in fourth. Kirk Broadhurst, Dennis Hancock, and Jamie Skeller. Look at that, less than a tenth of a second for those three drivers. Then Sean Mckenzie, Max Donnelly, and Nick Scariev holding on to a top 10.
Cameron Dance was able to recover from his spin to finish in 11th, so he should still have enough points to be ahead of Partridge enough in the final race. Jeremy Bush comes home where he started in 12th. Jackie Chalmers, unfortunately, losing 2 positions out of all of that. Russ Green in 14th. Then it's Dean, Verney, Jackson, Taylor, Bentvilson, and Williams to round out the top 20.
And of course, just a couple behind here. Sean Carey, Matthew Joy, Paul Ward, Aiden Schultz, Rick Berger, Callum Heinrich, Stuart Crawford, Mikey Harland, all getting involved in some scraps there in race 1. We definitely saw that these cars don't like wheel-to-wheel contact at all. They like to race close, but they don't like the contact. So what an interesting and intriguing race 1 we've seen. A 15-minute sprint here at Oulton Park in OZICAR Formula Vee Series. We've seen that the battles can bite and the track can bite. We've got one more race coming up after the break, and after that, a champion, an inaugural OZICAR Formula Vee champion will be crowned. Chuckers alike here on SimSpeed, make sure you are following us, and we will be back momentarily with qualifying, shootout qualifying, and race 2 tonight. The season finale, OZICAR Formula Vee.
Yeah, so we're using the VRS Direct Force Pro this year. We have a wheel adapter right here, so I'm using the rim I used last year. But the motor right here produces a lot of power, a lot of precision, and it helps me, just feel the car more, feel the car a lot quicker. Especially, this week we're at Sonoma. I can feel it, when it hits the curbs. Any little change in the car, the wheel reacts a lot quicker than your typical gear-driven or belt-driven wheel. For example, if you're on oval and the rear tires break loose, force feedback on it corrects a lot quicker than your typical wheels. There's no resistance pretty much as far as being able to make quick corrections on the wheel. So all that, paired with how precise the wheel itself is, it makes it to where it helps you as a driver, to find that extra hundredth or thousandths of a second. So when you're getting a direct drive wheel, especially the VRS wheel, it's heavy duty. It's got good weight to it, it's not a plastic toy. It feels like you can really beat up on it. A lot of people have issues with their plastic gear-driven wheels just kind of breaking after a couple years. This thing just feels like it can go forever. The forces are really strong where if you might have to let go of the wheel if you get into the wall. You can adjust all that with the settings on it and stuff, but the wheel itself doesn't play around. It's got way more strength than you could ever need, and that's what makes it good, that you can adjust that down to whatever the car needs. So initially you'll be able to get the controller box and the motor together, and eventually you will be able to add a rim onto that option. They'll also be including a button plate on it to put on the rim to have all sorts of different buttons and functionality. Also, pedals are coming, so that's a pretty big deal as well. Hasn't been covered too much, but the goal is to also have pedals to go along with the Direct Force Pro. so that's pretty exciting. The wheel feels good. You know, it feels very much like a real world steering wheel. You just kind of feel like what you would imagine the car to feel like. You know, a real steering wheel in a car is very smooth, it's very direct, very quick, and that's what this wheel feels like.
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got rhythm. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God. Big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly.
This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Welcome back. I hope you're sitting comfortably. I hope you've got your snacks ready because one more Formula V race to decide a Formula V champion here in OZICAR. It's almost time for the shootout qualifying to decide the grid. You don't want to start too deep in the grid in this pit stop race. You also can't afford to have no qualifying time. So in the immortal words of some famous Australian motorsport commentators, it's risk versus reward in this one shootout lap qualifying here. Our two championship contenders locking horns, Lee Partridge and Cam Dance. Partridge with the first shot of the night, reducing the championship gap down to just 14 points. He needs to take yet more points out of Cam Dance in race 2. So for all the remaining action of this championship, I'm David Haynes, and with me, Reese Gardner. Reese, what do you make of all of it?
Oh man, it's looking like it's going to be a pretty significant championship fight that we're going into here in race 2. Dance sitting on 461 points after race 1. Partridge on 447. That's a 14-point difference. So if we extrapolate that, basically, in order to be tied on points, if Partridge wins, Cameron Dance has to finish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10th or higher. And that's obviously not taking into account the extra point for fastest lap and the 3 extra points for 0 incidents. I doubt that many drivers will be going for that 3 extra points here tonight, but basically if Cameron Dance finishes outside the top 10 and doesn't get the fastest lap, then Lee Partridge has got it.
Yep, so
that is Partridge after all.
Cam Dance's race to lose. He's wearing the shirt to match his car livery. You have it, and is this the out lap or is this the hot lap? This looks like the out lap to me. Meanwhile, I think Lee Partridge is also going to be starting his flying lap soon. Again, both of them only the one shootout lap here to decide their qualifying in what's looking like a 28-car grid. Lee Partridge now into turn number 2 through the Cascades. You can't run out too wide there. Very restrictive track limits on the exit. All clean so far. He's got to bring it towards the hairpin.
He does indeed, and very tight here in the hairpin. Sounds like he's put it down into second gear there. He has for the hairpin. Just get a little bit of an extra bit of turn right there at the apex. But you want to try and shift up early to third because that's where all the power is in these acceleration zones. Just getting up into fourth gear as he makes his way through into Knickerbrook corner. Use the second curb there as you turn in point, and that's gone. That's gone for Lee Partridge. No qualifying time for second place in the championship. He has got the entire world ahead of him if he wants to take this title. Cameron Dance, on the other hand, he's looking sedate and calm.
Absolutely. So he's now going to approach that corner that caught out him in race 1, that caught out Lee Partridge just now in qualifying. That does look like a pretty relaxed qualifying lap. If we're honest with ourselves, more relaxed than most qualifying laps I've ever seen. Plenty of action on the wheel. Car walks a little bit wide there, but it does appear to have stayed on the track within bounds, and he's still going for the attack. A couple corners left here on his qualifying lap. Be honest, he'd love pole position, but at this point, anything in the top 10 would do him when we know Lee Partridge isn't going to have a qualifying time, full stop.
Indeed. Well, he's only got one proper corner now to go. Lodge down at the final couple of turns, just tips it in, soaring away at the wheel on the exit, try and keep the car in line for the deer leap, the final proper section of the lap. And what's this going to be for Cam Dance? At 1 minute 35.7 is going to be that time for him. 3/10 ahead of Jamie Skeller as Stuart Crawford now goes into P7 here in the dying seconds of the session. A good lap there from Cameron Dance, but there's still half the field yet to set their times.
He's got it in the stubby holder, but it still looks like a Spates Summit lager to me. We'll get confirmation on that one maybe later, and he's probably got a couple more stocked up for if he does manage to nab that championship tonight. Qualifying times still coming in, and you can tell from this one lap, one shot qualifying, a lot more field spread than we saw from qualifying for race 1. The cold tyres difficult to work with on this one lap. There's Chris Noble going to third. Skeller still in second. Broadhurst, no time just yet, but now 36.4, so it was a second shy of what Dance was able to manage, but still going to chuck him into 7th place. So field spread in that qualifying session, surprisingly, quite a lot, but that is going to bring to the end that one lap shootout qualifying session. We lock in the grid. Clean sweep on the pole positions for Cam Dance at this round as he's going to start from P number 1 for race 2, the championship decider. Jamie Skeller behind him, then Chris Noble, then Daniel Hederscheid, Sean Mckenzie, and Nathan Verney. Behind Verney is Broadhurst, as we saw, Nick Skariev, Stuart Crawford, Vic Bent-Veltsen, Dennis Hancock, and another good qualifying for Jackie Chalmers.
Starting 12th, good stuff there for the Scot. Aidan Schultz is going to start alongside Max Donnelly on the 7th row. It's Jeremy Bush and Mick Taylor with Callum Heinrich and Leon Williams rounding out the top 18. Then Sean Carey and Paul Jackson, the last drivers to set a qualifying time. Then we've got everyone who wasn't able to get a lap in that session. Martin Turner, who was a podium protagonist last race, starting down there alongside his chicken up teammate Mitch Dean. Then we got Ira Felberg, who didn't take the start in the previous race. I don't know if if he will this time. Lee Partridge going to start out of the 24th grid slot, missing out on a qualifying time after that spin at Knickerbrook Corner. Then it's Green, Berger, Ward and Joy rounding out our 28 cars here tonight. Well, David, it's time to decide this championship. How is it going to go down, especially with the pit stop for 2 front tyres?
Exactly. Super wide compulsory pit stop window today from the very end of lap 1 all the way to basically the start of the penultimate lap. And it is going to be 17 laps. So that basically means from lap 1 to 16 is the window. Everyone's going to have to come in and change 2 tyres. We know that doesn't happen rapidly for these Formula Vs. Still takes about 20 seconds to do all the nuts and put new one on, and it is not a rapid pit stop. So if you can get your pit stop, your car cleanly in the box, a good entry, a good exit, that is going to be oh so important. Cam Dance from the pole needs to not repeat his mistake from race 1. Lee Partridge starting out at 24th, a lot of work for him to do. Smoke in the air from the Volkswagen air-cooled flat engines, and we're away for 17 laps or 18 laps of this race number 2. Clean start from Dance, clean start from Skeller. Hedderscheid and Noble look like they're going to fit into line.
Mckenzie!
Mckenzie's around, and that's a lot of smoke. Drivers aren't going to know which way to go. Someone's going to clip him, and it might not be the only driver. Such an awkward position, lap 1 to be, and smoke in the air. It's days of thunder stuff, and that for Mckenzie is, well, almost a retirement right now, potentially. These are the leaders. These are the drivers pressuring Cam Dance, Skeller, and Hedderscheid. Skeller towards the hairpin. He's having a look. He throws it in deep, but not quite deep enough. Hancock or someone else. Sean Carey off at the Cascades at turn 2. Tyres still obviously very cold for all of our drivers as they try to navigate this track. Still bringing the pressures up. Lee Partridge has avoided too much damage, already 4 positions gained, but critically, how far off the lead is he? Already 11 seconds away from Cam Dance with the pit stops still to take place.
Yeah, it's been a pretty chaotic first lap out there. I saw a car going off into the grass. That was Stuart Crawford for 111 Esports. He's managed to slot in there behind Nathan Verney, but man, Lee Partridge not quite making up the positions that he'd want. He did benefit from that lap 1 chaos. He's up to 20th position now, plus 4 positions, but he's still a long way away from where he needs to be to try and beat Cam Dance, who was getting harassed quite a bit by Jamie Skeller and Daniel Hedderscheid. Chris Noble just dropping a wheel off into the grass and allowing Kirk Broadhurst alongside. And Broadhurst has been strong in race 2 at Oulton Park in the past. We've already got a couple of cars making their way down onto pit lane. It's Vic Bentvilson and Jeremy Bush, who was the driver that tagged Mr. Mckenzie. Yes, tagged Mckenzie on the exit of the first corner, so he's getting some damage repaired, I think.
Not a bad plan, because sometimes you can nurse a little bit of damage, but we've had more turn 1 chaos. 3 cars off there. Aiden Schultz is recovering. Is that Lee Partridge?
Yes.
It is Lee Partridge who's been tangled up in that one as well. Not what he needed. Don't see a lot of damage, but obviously that is a lot of time lost, and he needs to be not just ahead of Dance, but positions ahead of Dance if he's going to be the champion. So here he is, looking down the inside at turn 1, backs out of it, and then what happens at the apex? Is there a misjudging of speed?
Yeah.
Oh, driver in front backs out to try to avoid the already spun Aiden Schultz, and then Callum Heinrich gets collected from behind by Lee Partridge, who just wasn't expecting the car to slow down at the apex that much.
Yes, indeed. So it's very unfortunate coming together between those drivers, and it basically means that the championship's effectively over unless Dance DNFs, and even then it's going to be hard for Partridge to make up that points gap. So we check in with the battle down this straight here. Max Donnelly and Jackie Chalmers running side by side for 7th place. They got Dennis Hancock up there with them, and Max Donnelly going very hard into Lodge Corner, just going wide, giving Jackie Chalmers the maximum amount of space he can afford to him. And side by side across the line, I'm not seeing anyone in the pits apart from Chris Noble and Sean Mckenzie. Noble's had some problems as well. He's been in the pits for upwards of 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Yeah, sure has. Ross Green also with a long pit stop. So for Noble, I think it's either damage or a tow, and for others, they might get stung speeding onto pit lane. Very difficult sort of chicane on the pit entry here. Very slow pit lane speed limit. No pit lane speed limiters in this car. You've got to do all of that work by yourself. Quite easy to get caught speeding on the way into pit lane. So are we looking at here? That'd be Nick Skariev there, right in the middle of this pack of Max Donnelly, Dennis Hancock, Martin Turner, Mitch Dean, and others. And there are a few drivers who didn't qualify that have made up some big spots other than Lee Partridge. So Martin Turner here in 9th, started all the way back in 21st. And then behind Skariev is Mitch Dean, who started in 22nd. And they're both challenging into the top 10 here. So they've managed to navigate the minefield. Lee Partridge just wasn't yet able to do.
Indeed, as for the lead, it's Jamie Skeller on Cameron Dance, with Daniel Hederscheid just sitting pretty behind, side by side between Broadhurst and Verney behind. It looks like Verney's just managed to edge himself ahead of Broadhurst coming into Lodge Corner, so it's going to be 4th place there for Nathan. I've also picked up what's happened to Chris Noble back on lap 2, going into Cascades. It looked like a bit of side-by-side contact with Kirk Broadhurst that sent him off into the gravel and into the wall, so too damaged for him to continue there, but it looked like there was a bit of latency involved with that contact. There was still some space being given as the number 49 of Martin Turner continues to work his way up here. Mitch Dean looking on from behind as he's side by side with Max Donnelly. Turner, the highest car up, who didn't set a qualifying lap, has to give Max Donnelly the space through Cascades. He's lost a bunch of momentum on the exit of the corner, going to allow his teammate through.
Almost looked like off the apex there. The car just didn't want to turn. It kind of washed out a little bit off the racing line, and he does indeed slot back in line, and it's gone for a real buzzing Hornets livery there, has Nick Skariev now. He drops back in line, trying to hold on to 11th here, trying to run with the pack, which was a great strategy for him in race 1. And 100% worked out how he would have liked. Certainly, it's good to drive within yourself and just work with some drivers in a car like this with such a strong slipstream, so pack racing dependent. Here's the pack for the lead. They haven't let Dance get away in this one. He's got Skeller and Hederscheid glued to his, well, it's kind of a back bumper on these cars. There's a frame there that holds some gearboxy kind of stuff, and that's right where Skeller and Hederscheid are rolling with him in this race number 2.
Yeah, they're keeping it nice and tight there behind Cam Dance, and probably looking to pit at about the same time as him. Skeller having a bit of a run on Dance down the pit straight, but he can't take advantage. He just doesn't have enough momentum to get alongside into the first turn, and it really is important that you get fully alongside into turn 1 here. He's still trying, still moving around in Cam's mirrors, trying to psych out the championship leader and champion-elect. I mean, this is this battle. They can afford to battle like this a bit. They've got a good gap back to Nathan Verney there in 4th, but they don't want to be too aggressive here. Like, you see the amount that Skeller's moving around there coming up to the braking zone. That might be unsettling Dance a bit.
Yeah, Skeller definitely willing to get close, willing to run close with him through some of the corners. There is Partridge back up and going, and in 14th at the moment. I think he might have recently cleared Aiden Schultz. He's got Leon Williams immediately behind, but he's 23 seconds behind Dance. Now, the way the point structure works, where he's running right now, would give him 14 points if there was a Dance DNF. A Dance DNF would just basically need Lee Partridge to finish, but, well, he's well clear and has only got to worry about the traffic at the moment, Cam Dance at the moment. The 2 drivers behind him and some of the traffic they might catch. There's another one of those sort of late jinx from Jamie Keller, almost twice down the pit straight, but still just stays behind Cam Dance.
Do any of them go for the pits this time around? No. Skeller has a better run this time, and he commits to the alongside run down the front stretch, fully alongside Dance into turn 1, and Dance recognises that, lets him go. I can come back at him on the next straight, and he does just a little bit, but not enough to keep the battle going. He might have another chance at the hairpin if Skeller messes up the exit. So Jamie then into the lead of this race, and certainly staking his claim for the final victory of the OZICAR Formula Vee season. Shows that Cam Dance, despite the big gap that he has in the championship, he certainly had to work for that lead.
Yeah, and saw Skeller defending there, and then Dance trying to go around the outside. So Skeller has taken that lead, and my goodness, does it look like he wants to fight to hold on to it, even though they haven't made their pit stops yet. This is one of the corners that's been surprisingly treacherous right here. Still fourth gear, got to really take the line to carry all the speed, but too much of that apex curve we've seen greatly unsettling to these cars. Their sort of road-derived suspension. Here's one of the next packs behind: Dean, Hancock, Turner, Donnelly, Skariev. All five of them made their way through the fast right-hander and now up the hill that always serves to compress the pack, to let the cars behind carry more speed. It exacerbates the effect of the slipstream as they all stall out going uphill in fourth gear.
Loving these big packs that end up happening along here is tiny little look from the two cars behind Mitch Dean, a look from Turner which prompted a look from Hancock. They both avoid getting into the back of Mitch, who really had some horrid luck at Lime Rock in the last round. It's a good run from Turner, can't capitalize coming into turn one, but he's opening himself back up to Max Donnelly and Nick Skariev behind. These guys just keeping it calm because the majority of the field has yet to take their stops, including Lee Partridge, who we saw with that spin earlier. So plenty of pit stop foibles yet to be worked out in the midst of all of this. A slight technical issue there for Martin Turner. You might want to fix that as Skariev gets up the inside and spins Turner around. That was a bit of a misjudgment there from Nick, just squeezing through on the inside. There was Jackie Chalmers, good avoidance, but I think Turner's not going to be too happy with that dive bomb from Skariev.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a mistake of some kind, because he came in way too hot there, and it's kind of hit one car, stalled out in front of another one, and been no good for anyone in that group there. So, yeah, just way past the braking zone, obviously, for Skariev, and then he had the steering cranked on, and it still wouldn't turn. Here's our top three. Still early-ish in this race, as you can see, lap 7 of 18. End of lap 9 would be the halfway point in this race. And some drivers kind of want to pit then. Others are going to take this long as they can. All of our top 16 yet to pit.
As we check out our top three and the schedule for Season 2, this looks like a really good selection of tracks here. The initial season, this one of OZICAR Formula V, we've been following the official iRacing Formula Vee Series schedule. So basically the first 6 weeks have been our 6 rounds and all free content, which has really encouraged quite a few people to sign up. But it looks like for Season 2, we're going to some paid tracks, and very good ones too. Red Bull Ring, Barcelona, Silverstone, Imola, Nürburgring and Zolder. A good selection of Grand Prix venues for the second season.
And I do believe that round 5 is going to be a 50-minute single race in the Enduro format. So that'll also bring a change in the format for one of the rounds next season. Everything has been the sort of 2-race sprint formats so far in OZICAR Formula Vee Series. So a bit of change on that front, just to keep things ticking along, somewhat familiar, but also bringing in some new possibilities for some new styles of racing in the Formula V. So top 3 there, and they are starting to catch a little bit of traffic. When that becomes more common for our drivers, then some of them might think about heading a little bit early. Otherwise, they're heading for a lap 15 or lap 16 pit stop. Might have been Miss Green that they're catching, and then there's Callum Heinrich and Matthew Joy. So there's not a whole lot of traffic just yet. This is, of course, a longer circuit, the Island Historic layout, than just racing the Foster's Historic. So traffic not quite as much of the problem as it was earlier in the season here, and also at Tsukuba, for example.
Yeah, for sure. The drivers won't be worrying too much about traffic in this round, I think, because, this extra extension we have, putting the hairpin into the mix, it makes the lap times about 1.5 minutes, and lane transit time is anywhere from 36 to 45 seconds for most of these drivers. So it seems that pitting doesn't set you back almost an entire lap like it used to for the shorter layouts we've been running throughout the season, but still could be a factor here for our leaders, as Russ Green's just letting our top 3 go now. There's Lee Partridge with Rick Berger just behind him, and neither of these guys are pitted yet, but Partridge now back into the top 10 on track, as Cameron Dance now sees an opportunity to get by Jamie Skeller for the lead. Skeller going defensive through the middle of the circuit, but nothing doing for now between those two. Daniel Hederscheid, like he did in race 1, just sitting behind, waiting for the opportunity, but a clean run past the traffic.
Yeah, important. Skeller still leading. Halfway point in this race is now 9 laps completed, 9 laps to go. Stuart Crawford's decided to pit from 6th. That's a little bit of a surprise, potentially. See if anyone else opts for something similar. And there you can see the tyre change. The car doesn't go up on the jacks particularly quickly. The tyres don't change particularly quickly. And there comes Lee Partridge as well. So he's opted to try to stop early, try to do something different, maybe get away from some traffic. 16.8, not bad actually for Stuart Crawford. Some other pit stops have averaged a lot closer to 18, 19, 20 seconds. So 16.8 is a good and competitive number.
It is indeed. The fastest pit stop so far is held by Martin Turner. 16.1 seconds in the box for him, but Turner, of course, recovering from being turned around by Skariev earlier, so I don't think there's going to be much to gain from that. Out comes Aidan Schultz, 16.3 second box time, and he is going to come out just ahead of Paul Jackson there. So Lee Partridge, 15.9. That's one of the fastest stops we've seen so far, and it's a new fastest stop record from Vic Bentvelsen. That's 14.9 in the box. So these drivers are really pushing their crews out there in the pit lane, and seeing that Russ Green really hanging with this top 3 pack. He is a lap down, but he knows that these guys haven't pitted yet. Once they do, he can just jet on by, and he's picking up some draft from them as well, which will help his pace.
Yeah, Russ Green's already completed his pit stop, so actually not bad here to be sticking with our top 3. Mitch Dean, Dennis Hancock on the lane now, so it's really just these top 3 plus 3 other cars yet to pit at this point. All of a sudden, it's halfway point. There's been quite a few takers. Here's Skeller once again, middle of the road defending, but you can see there, Dean in front and Hancock towards the back of the shot there, getting their compulsory tyre change. So yeah, again, now just our top 7 yet to pit. 3 you see pictured here, and then Nathan Verney, Kirk Broadhurst, Jackie Chalmers, Rick Berger. That's it. Yet to make their compulsory stop, even with a handful of laps still to go.
That's Paul
Skeller all the way out across the grass and gathers it up. He nearly made a very familiar mistake at that corner there. Good stuff by everyone behind it. That wasn't a bigger incident as well. Huge wiggly moment, and somehow Jamie Skeller survives.
I'm pretty shook by that, and Skeller made the exact same mistake that Cam Dance did in race 1, just took a bit too much of the grass and curb on the inside of Knickerbrook, so he's lost a lot of momentum out of that, but still getting some draft there off the back of Russ Green. He can stay with Dance and Hederscheid if he wants, but it looks like he's going for the pits.
Not a bad option. If you can get a good pit stop, then he might rejoin closer to those guys. If they have longer pit stops, too wide. Knickerbrook again here from the drivers on their outlap. Cold front tyres, and Mitch Dean manages to just out-fox Dennis Hancock in what are they battling at? 9th and 10th at the moment, but could move up some other spots when others pit. So this is for some serious points here again between Dean and Hancock, and the Chicken Up guys, I think, always with sort of teams championship and other stuff on their mind.
Yeah, I would agree. Unfortunately, they haven't quite gotten results for both cars that they would necessarily like, with how chaotic some of the racing has been over the last few rounds, particularly at Lime Rock. They both had issues, and Martin Turner, of course, having his issues that we've already talked about in this race. So Mitch Dean here Just trying to gap Dennis Hancock at the moment. He wants a car in front of him. Stuart Crawford's still quite a ways up the road. You probably just see him in the background of some of these shots. So he'll be hoping that Hancock gets involved with the recovering Chris Noble, who's gone for a big old slide just behind. He does recover, though, and continue on.
Almost looks like Fernando Alonso on the hanger straight there. A couple movements, just watching everyone follow in the slipstream. He's Lee Partridge. Now some other drivers have pitted. He's worked his way up to 11th, now lining up behind Jeremy Bush. Dennis Hancock and Mitch Dean are still quite a bit up the road from him from there. And the driver in front of Bush already has warmed up front tyres from the very early pit stop. Lee Partridge still going through that phase where the balance of the car will not be optimal. We'll be coming back to him lap on lap. This is your leaders. Steadfastly refusing to pit. Cam Dance and Daniel Hederscheid, and they are 6 seconds ahead of Nathan Verney. And then another 20 seconds to Rick Berger. The only 4 drivers who have not yet made their compulsory pit stop. Now, just 4 of them yet to stop. There's Lee Partridge lining up on Jeremy Bush, I think it is. He's gotten himself in front, and I think Bush is almost just giving him that position. So Partridge back up into 10th, but he's had a bit of a wiggle with the downshift, with the turning. Now here's Jamie Skeller on the pit lane for the 2nd time.
Oh, you might have got a speeding on pit exit penalty, because these cars don't have a speed limiter. And so you've got to be careful with that. And the speed limit at Oulton Park is 50 kilometers per hour. It's a bit different to some other iRacing tracks out there, so you've got to be mindful of that. Skeller probably either got into the lane too hot or got on the power a bit too early coming out, so he's probably not going to be a factor here in this top battle. It's now between Dance and Hederscheid for the win.
Other possibility, of course, is unsafe pit exit. If you cut the grass or you don't obey the blend line. 100% sure what that would be for, but it is catastrophic almost to be back on pit lane for a 2nd time, and has really put a dampener on his hopes, or on his race. So that's Dean, and then Hancock, and then Lee Partridge and Jeremy Bush in the background. No, it's not. It's Mckenzie in the background.
Yeah, Mckenzie a long way back down there in 26th position. The driver in front of him is Chris Noble. As we check back in on Partridge, and there's Skeller making his way back around 16.5 seconds in the box. So he obviously took tyres again at that stop. So I'm not too sure what's going on there for Skeller. Maybe he forgot to uncheck the tyres.
Yeah. I don't know. Did he change the wrong ones at the first stop? That is all a mystery. So lap 14 will be 4 to go at the line. Yep. Here comes Paul Ward, one of the drivers who's yet to stop, and that gets him, I think, out of the way of Dance and Hederscheid coming towards the final corner. And Verney, can you just make Verney in the back of some of these shots? Sure, he's 6 seconds behind. Yeah, that's him there, running around in 3rd place at the moment, all on his lonesome for a good handful of laps here. But still, you see from that one shot that we've had all of this green flag racing, 14 laps, and Verney still can see the leaders at times. He won't be able to now. I think he's heading for the pit lane. So's Cam Dance. Hederscheid's still out. Rick Berger we don't know about yet, but that's split 1st and 2nd as Hederscheid's continued. Dance is on the pit lane, in the box getting his service. Now Nathan Verney in his pit stall.
Rick Berger in the number 3. Let's see if he decides to go for the lane this time around. I did check out Skeller's stop. He actually didn't take any tyres that 2nd time he was through in the pits, so I think he was serving a 15-second stop and go as Dance just comes out pretty much level there with Rick Berger. Nathan Verney making his way out as well. So Hederscheid and Berger, the last 2 cars not to take a stop in this race. And wow, Verney, it's going to be tough between he and Broadhurst for 4th and 5th on track. Once Berger pits, that's probably going to be for 3rd place. Final spot on the podium. and Broadhurst knows what it's like to be a podium stander here at Oulton Park. Is he going to have another go into the island hairpin? Pulls out, has a go. Let's see if he gets alongside. Verney on the brakes a little bit earlier. Broadhurst on the warmer front tyres, taking the position.
Yeah, not a bad stop though by Verney. I don't know what stopwatch said for you. I've got 15.8 for him, 19.8 for Cam Dance. So if Hedderscheid can have a 16, 17 second pit stop, I think Hedderscheid can come out cleanly in the lead here. We're going to find out. Hedderscheid's not going to roll the dice on that one yet. He's got all this clean space all to himself, and he's going to pit as late as he possibly can. Here's Dance, with Berger behind, who hasn't stopped yet. Here's this new battle between Broadhurst and Verney. It's good for Verney, though, to have the slipstream, to just stay behind for a lap or two, get that tyre temperature, and then on that white flag lap, maybe have an attack again over that final step on the podium.
Yep, certainly not over for Nathan Verney. No takers on the pits again this time round. Actually, Rick Berger's decided to bring it in here. Brings Cameron Dance back into second, and that means that Broadhurst now into third. Verney can smell a podium here with that excellent stop of his.
Yeah, exactly. 3 to go, as the graphic says, looking backwards from Broadhurst at Verney. Still trying to build that tyre temperature, still trying to build up the momentum and the courage and the guts to have a dig at Broadhurst for third. You can see Broadhurst most of the straight, running it right down the middle, and then onto the racing line, and then a narrow entry here as they've got the car wide they're trying to avoid. That almost hurts Verney a little bit off the exit, but we know down here at Knickerbrook, if he gets a good run through there, he'll pull up all of this gap back up the hill. Is this going to be the pit stop lap for Hedderscheid? It's looking like it is. If this is a clean entry and a clean pit stop, he could come out ahead of Dance, whose stop was a little bit on the longer side. So Hedderscheid is going for the overcut, but it's got to all be perfect in his stop right now, because look where Dance is, not that far behind.
No, not far behind at all. Looks like Hedderscheid's nailed his box there. He's up on the jacks now, getting his front tyres. Let's see how long it takes here, because Dance just making his way into Lodge Corner now. If nothing else, they might be side by side on the exit. Verney's revving it up, getting ready to go, and he is away. So Cameron Dance will pop into the picture very shortly over the rise here on the front straight. Looks like Hedderscheid might just come out ahead.
Yeah, not bad for Hedderscheid at all. He's going to be in the lead, but he is going to be that struggling driver with the cold tyres for these remaining 2 laps. He wanted to be, I think, 1 or 2 seconds further ahead of Dance, because Dance is now right behind him. Dance is in a position to attack. Dance wants to grab a win to seal the championship. He's got work to do on these remaining 2 laps, though. Second place would do it for Cam Dance. He would comfortably be champion. But if you know him, like I know him, I think he wants to win this one to bring it home with the W. Jackie Chalmers, Max Donnelly, and whoa! Way wide from Ben Veltzen, and Jackie Chalmers is going to kiss the wall there. Max Donnelly might have a bit of damage as well. I think that's big damage for Chalmers. As far as I can see, she, has managed to get back on the road, but it looked like started pointing towards the pavement, and the car just didn't want to turn. So what happened just out of shot between those 3? Everyone missing the corner. They're too wide in the background here. But Veltzen in front is already going to miss the corner. Chalmers in hot. Catches any of the apex? No. Walks it out wide, but isn't completely 100% clear of Max Donnelly, I think.
Yeah, that's basically it. And it looked like Jackie was going to go towards the outside of the circuit, go into the runoff area anyway. So Donnelly was trying to keep his foot in there. Unfortunately, the two just coming together on the exit of turn 1, which is a big shame to see. But looking to me like Daniel Hedderscheid on the final lap, defending from Cam Dance, using an awful lot of that runoff area at turn 1. Dance only has a few more chances here to get up the inside. He could do it at the hairpin. He could probably do it at Druids. Can definitely hurl one up there at Lodge, the final corner. Broadhurst still defending third from Nathan Verney. Who's going to get what?
Hedeshide's loaded the kids and the family and all their belongings into the van, and he's trying to outrun the storm here, trying to hold on for one more lap while Cam Dance approaches. That's what it's like. He's scrambling for his life, finish line in sight, trying to get there without mistake, without letting Dance catch him. Hurst and Vernie are going to have a great battle, but this has been one of the tough corners on the lap. Cleanly through there for Hedeshide, but always uphill. This run here, the car behind will close in. Hedeshide is going to go middle of the road. Dance is looking around the outside for Druids here. The track really closes up through these double right-handers. Dance should still have the warmer tyres, trying to come around the outside of Hedeshide. Clean so far. How's the momentum for Dance trying to get ahead? Surely wants to get to the right-hand side, but Hedeshide's not going to allow it. He's going to hold the inside for the final corner here. He's going to throw it in deep. You knew he was always going to go for it. Dance, gets shuffled out wide and onto the dirty stuff. Hedeshide will hold on. Dance should have maybe looked over under there, but Hedeshide will take the race win. Cam Dance will take the inaugural championship.
Well, there we go. A satisfied smile on Cam Dance's face as he makes his way around the in-lap. A fantastic performance all season from Cam. Real-life Formula V driver, and it certainly shows. Looks like that is Mitch Dean taking 6th place at the end of it. Hancock, Turner and Partridge just fending off the push from behind. You got to think there would have been more to it if Partridge hadn't been involved in that turn 1 incident, but still a great recovery from Partridge, making up 16 positions on where he started to finish in 8th place. But Cameron Dance, your inaugural champion for OZICAR Formula V, and that brew's going to taste pretty sweet.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Ought to be well pleased with himself, been there and thereabouts every single race. Despite the mistakes, he's just been able to have more consistency than everyone else, and that is what is always rewarded in all of these OZICAR series without this point structure, particularly Formula V there. And there were other drivers who had their days where they were quick, but they just couldn't string it together at every circuit we went to, and there was definitely some times you had to walk the tightrope and walk the coals in this championship. That shootout qualifying with the huge grids, how closely these cars race, there was always the potential for carnage, and often we got it.
Yeah, certainly did. But I think we should pay our respects to Daniel Hedeshide here, taking victory by 3/10 from Cameron Dance. It was awesome to see him finally come home for that OZICAR Formula V victory he's been threatening all season. It was Dance, Broadhurst, Verney and Crawford rounding out the top 5, with Mitch Dean fending off Dennis Hancock at the end. Partridge coming home in 8th, just ahead of Martin Turner and Jeremy Bush.
Rest of our grid was Vic Bent-Veltzen in 11th, Max Donnelly still finishing 12th after that little bit of late contact. Jamie Skeller, 2 pit stops to 13th place. Then Aiden Schultz, Rick Berger, Paul Jackson, Jackie Chalmers managed to limp it around for 17th, but she was really looking for a top 10 there, I would have imagined. And then Mick Taylor, Russ Green, Callum Heinrich, all of these drivers still on the lead lap. Same for Paul Ward, while Leon Williams, Sean Carey 1 lap off. 2 laps down for Chris Noble and Matthew Joy, and then 3 laps down for Sean Mckenzie, retirement, Nick Skariev. And I feel like Ira Felberg didn't take the start in either race there. Still, great grid and very, very competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. What a fantastic night of racing we've had here at the brilliant Oulton Park circuit. Cameron Dance, the slow-mo there as he does his victory celebrations across the line. He's not quite here in the booth yet, but we will get Daniel Hedeshide in for a quick word. Daniel, congratulations on your first win there till the end of the season to finally get your name into the victory circle. How was it like from your perspective?
Yeah, no, that was probably perfectly executed race. Is probably the best one I've done this season. I mean, every second race this season I've stuffed my qualifying up, so I had quite a conservative qualifying lap, which was good enough for P4, and then just run away with Cam and Jamie, and sort of guaranteed us the podiums, and then battling for the win at the end was quite good.
What was your thinking behind coming in when you did?
Cam actually caught me a bit by surprise coming in then, so I thought I'd just hang out for a couple laps. Hopefully his cold tyres slow him down a little bit, and yeah, it obviously worked.
Yeah, obviously did, and I guess you can look back on this season pretty reasonably. It was a very action-packed season with some big grids and very intense racing, but you ended up getting some very good points hauls out of it.
Yeah, it's been an awesome season. I mean, I think after the first round, I was last in the championship, so to claw my way back to, I think, P4, I think I was too far away from those top three, and to be fighting for wins, yeah, I can't complain.
Absolutely. Well, before we let you go, Daniel, from your top spot here on the podium, any shout-outs, any sponsors you'd like to thank for your win?
Big shout out to Ira. I mean, he's just left 111. I think a few of us have, for putting on a good series. It's been awesome. Like, there's been some really good racing in these cars. They're hard to race, but really close and fun. Then my new team at Natari Esports for the ovals, and yeah, you guys for putting on a good broadcast.
Daniel Hedderscheid, the winner there of the second race here at Oulton Park. We still have yet to have Cam Dance join us here, but David, I think it's a good idea to catch up with Kirk Broadhurst, who's managed to nab himself another podium in Cheshire.
Yeah, exactly. Well done. And we were, of course, watching the lead battle, but also keeping tabs on this fight that you had against Nathan Verney. You pitted a little earlier than others, but what did that mean come the end of the race? I feel like I can almost hear Kirk Broadhurst in the very, very far distance. Are you with us now, friend?
Unfortunately, we're not getting anything through from Kirk's mic at the moment, so we'll probably give him a bit of an opportunity to sort that out as we bring our champion in for an interview here. Cameron Dance has stood by.
Cam, congratulations. Tell us, let's wind that clock back, hitting the curb in race one, giving up what looked like a certain win in race one. What was on your mind in that moment?
Oh, a little bit of what the heck happened there, and a little bit of yeah, that's not going to plan. So no, that really was weird. I still don't quite know why that happened. I'm not sure whether I just took a little bit too much more curb or what the story was, but it was really, really weird, and it kind of baffled me as to what happened. But oh well, it's happened, and we still recovered a reasonable result. So can't complain at the end of the day and still win the championship.
King of qualifying, not the first round. You've locked out the front row on both races. Is there a secret there? And certainly with these big grids, a good qualifying performance as important as in any championship.
Not really. It's a really weird car. I mean, it seems to handle cold tires reasonably well. So yeah, not quite sure whether there's a certain trick. If there is, I'm still yet to figure it out more or less. But yeah, it's just been a really, really good run in qualifying. Probably my best ever to date, to be honest, because I'm usually a terrible qualifier. So no, it's been really, really good, and really bit happy to end up getting so many pole positions across the way, and including a couple of pole to wins as well, conversions. So yeah, really, really happy and stoked for that.
Yeah, a lot of competition for you in this first ever season of OZICAR Formula Vee Series. So, I mean, obviously, it's got to mean a lot. Your name's at the very top of the plaque there, and 40-plus drivers tried to put their hand on it, and it's yours.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's been really, really fun the whole season. I mean, it's been very, very hotly contested all season long, with the likes of Lee and Kirk and a few others making a few appearances at the front. So it's been really, really cool to race everybody and see everybody get some sort of a chance to have a chance at a win, possibly, that you wouldn't normally see at the front of the field, just because of the fact that everybody's so close in the draft zone point and everything. So yeah, it's been really, really cool, and to be the first champion, I can't complain, to be honest. So it's at least one on the board for the Formula First, and we'll certainly take it as it comes.
Schedule's out of the bag for season 2. Are we going to see you try to defend the championship?
Oh, more than likely. I mean, I'm more than likely going to be back. I mean, I love this car. It's really, really fun. It's just an awesome car to drive and race against everybody in the series. So yeah, I'll probably be back again. All depending that my schedule doesn't clash. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll hopefully be back to defend the title.
Once again, we've got to offer you a big congratulations. Plenty of wins in the bag. Top step on the standings and inaugural champion. Who are you going to thank?
Yeah, just first of all, shout out to the boys at TechSense Fitz Motorsport, as always, and our partners, TechSense Sensors, Renville Harnesses, Demon Tweaks, Fight CRC, you guys for the awesome broadcast, Majors Garage, Sim3D, Ira for the awesome league, all the boys for the awesome racing all season long, and cheers to Jack because we got one for him.
There you go. Thanks, Cam.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
And we can take an opportunity then to finish up our chat with Kirk Broadhurst. Kirk, congratulations on yet another podium here at Oulton Park. What was that like for you?
Cheers, Race. Yeah, it was good. Good fun. A bit of luck with, some of the incidents, but it was a tight race. I thought I was going to hunt down Jamie, but I think he got a speeding in the pits kind of thing. So he got moved out of the way, and then a bit of battle with Nathan back and forth, but managed to hold on. It was good.
Certainly was, especially with that 5th place to back yourself up in race 1, just fending off Dennis Hancock. This track, how is it different to the Foster's layout in terms of the Formula V? Because you got a lot more space for drafting.
Yeah, the hairpin is. I don't, when I watch the race back, I'll see, but I would imagine there's a few spins and so forth in the hairpin is usually the way, and it's another passing opportunity. And then obviously you get more draft going up to over the top of the hill. So there was a lot more drafting opportunity, and I spent more time kind of sitting behind people, just taking advantage of that and waiting for the right opportunity.
Well, there we go, a 5th and a 3rd once again. Before we let you go, Kirk, is there anyone that you'd like to thank for it?
Just want to thank Ira for organising the league. It's fantastic. Had a lot of fun, and all the drivers. It was a great group of people, very competitive, fair racing. Very good fun. Highly recommend it.
As do we here at SimSpeed TV. That's Kirk Broadhurst, 5th and 3rd here tonight. I guess next up, we've got a few more interviews to go here, David, but the first we'll have a quick chat with our Race 1 winner, Lee.
Hey, guys. Well, welcome, and first of all, congratulations on that win in Race 1, making Cam fight for the championship all the way to the end. Tell us about the one-lap qualifying, though. What happened there?
Yeah, so I... in my one-lap qualifying, I did what looked like Cam did in race 1 and just got a little bit eager through the kink on the back straight and just threw it away. And that was it. That's what you get with the one-lap quali, which is a bit of a disappointing way to start. But it was nerve-wracking coming through the field with all the incidents and trying to keep the nose clean. And I turned myself around on another car once, and it just all sort of went pear-shaped, but still managed to get inside the top 10 in the final, which was pretty good. So pretty happy with that. Race 1 was lucky, I think, obviously with Cam throwing it away, and my pace was nowhere on those guys that I was around. I was lucky enough just to hold them off, and then they started fighting with themselves. So I definitely didn't have the pace tonight. So I think I was quite lucky with the win, and but good to wrap the series up. P2, I think we got, and yeah, stoked.
And thinking of the season as a whole, obviously every single track we've been to every single week has just been incredible racing top to the bottom of the field. We've been out of breath here in the commentary box with just how much goes on. So rating your season overall, have you been how's the enjoyment been? How have you maybe grown yourself as well?
Yeah, definitely. I've really enjoyed the season. I've had a few ups and downs. It took me a while to get a podium, as we spoke about last round, and there was a few times I was just lacking pace. I don't get on the sim enough to practice. Pretty much just a couple of sessions before the round, and that's it. So I don't spend a lot of time on the sim, which I know hurts me a little bit, but the enjoyment factor is huge in this league. I'm absolutely loving it. The spread of car pace and ability and all that is really cool too. I think when you got to come through the field, it sort of simulates real life, really. You got the quick guys up the front and a little bit less experienced guys down the back that you got to contend with, whether it's lap traffic or if you qualify bad. So it's a really good mix. Really enjoying what Ira's done here with Aussie Cars, and it's been really cool. Looking forward to next season already.
Well, congratulations to you for the race win today. A season well run, plenty of points in the bag, and really being someone to give a challenge to Cam Dance. So congrats to you and anyone you want to thank.
Yeah, thanks, guys, and just thanks to all the other competitors in the league. We're starting to get along and starting to get really well. Well done to Cam for the series. Thanks to you guys for putting on the stream. It's really cool, and Ira for the league. Can't be happier with it, and really looking forward to next round. As I said, got a team change coming up and a different livery coming up for next season, so that'll be cool. And yeah, bring it on.
Delightful. Well, let's continue with a couple of people that we need to speak to.
Indeed. The last driver we're going to talk to here is Sean Mckenzie. Welcome, Sean. And well, race 2 didn't go your way, but still an 8th place in race 1, which is good enough to secure 3rd in the championship, we believe. So all up, a good season performance.
Yeah, how you doing, boys? Thanks for that. That was the main idea in the first race, was just make sure I got 3rd. So I did that. So the spin didn't end up mattering. Thank God. Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, that's obviously you're quite tired out from that night of racing. It was pretty intense here at Oulton. You know, it was intense here in round 2, but you know, having this extra longer layout just adds to the amount of action that this track can bring up.
Yeah, it was great being able to actually use second gear for the first time. We haven't had to use it all season, so really good having that hairpin. Good fun.
Good fun indeed. So what's your goal for next season of OZICAR Formula V? Trying to get 3rd again, or try to go 1 or 2 better?
I'll try to go a bit better, I guess, but just have fun. I really enjoyed it this year, this season. It was really good fun, so just enjoy myself's the main goal.
Well, enjoy yourself. It looked like you did, and enjoy ourselves. We did. Anyone that you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Well, last time I got interviewed by you guys, I got off and my old man rang me and said, "Why didn't you thank me?" So I guess I better thank him. But that, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us, Sean Mckenzie. P3 in the standings now for the drivers, and final interview of the night. David, you stood by with our organizer.
Yeah, exactly. Ira Feldberg, we've given a lot of congratulations to our race winners and our champions, but I think congratulations are in order to you for what a great, amazing season we've had. Every single driver seems to be raving about the quality of the racing, the quality of the field, and the tracks and the format that we've had. So I think on behalf of SimSpeed TV, tip my hat to you. What's been the most enjoyable part of this season in your chair?
I'd say probably what you just said about me then. Yeah, no, look, it's very kind words. Thank you very much. And there's been a few small mistakes, but yeah, generally it's been pretty good. And the highlight for me has been the close racing. And I think like we've seen the potentials there. Like we're going to see packs of like 10 cars run into the line and stuff like that. So a few teething problems. The other thing is they're not the easiest car to drive. Like, you know, no one will question Cameron Dance's skill, but we've seen even him spin them out. So that shows us, you know, like not the easiest cars to drive. And I think next season, once everyone's got a season under their belt, it's really going to like go to the next level. And there's a lot of very, very good drivers sending me messages asking. So yeah, I think it's only going to get better and better. And next season starts next week.
Yeah, give us a word about next season, because obviously we've already shown the schedule, but if people are watching, they want to race, they want to sign up, they want to read all about it, where should they go? Where should they start?
The best place is the website, which is just OZICAR.net. That's OZICAR.net, and the entry forms are on there, which will go live basically as soon as I get off here, because we run 6-week seasons, so the season starts next week. So that's the best place. Also, you can join up on the Discord, and it will fill pretty quick. I'd say 40 cars probably limited to, or 45 max. So first in, best dress, and yeah, that's the best place to go. Head to the website.
Awesome. Any sort of opinions, observations of this season, or anyone you need to thank?
Yeah, no, I think, like I said, it's been pretty good. The racing, like I said, there's been a few small issues, but it's mainly just people. A lot of those guys are new to leagues and all that. So I'm just excited they came along at a great time for me, the V's, and they've shown the potential. And I think next season is going to really be a cracker. So yeah, and I just want to really quickly thank the sponsors, obviously Simfinity, Prestige Trophy and Badge, 247, and of course Locked On iRacing. I don't think those guys quite got the job done tonight, but second in the championship. And yeah, just want to thank Wilco for his support and sponsorship. If you haven't already checked it out, people, Locked On iRacing podcast, it's the best podcast for iRacing in Australia. And also, yeah, I want to thank you guys, Reese, David and Jay at SimSpeed. You guys make us look good every week. Thank you very much, everybody. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
There we go. Yeah, Locked On iRacing podcast, currently 38th on the iTunes podcast charts for hobbies and leisure in Belgium or something like that. So I've heard. Good stuff. Reese, I get some closing thoughts out of you. You've been alongside me this entire championship, every single race, and we have just had our jaw on the floor every minute of racing start to finish.
Yeah, we have indeed. You know, Formula Vee turning up some fantastic racing as expected. This is one of the, I think, the best additions to iRacing in a very long time in terms of, you know, the racing that this car produces, how intuitive it can be to drive, and also, you know, the track selection of this series as well. I am looking forward to Season 2's track list, but I really like the fact that we went for the rookie-free content here. It's a good variety of tracks and certainly produced some fantastic racing. Question on my mind is, will Cameron Dance be able to defend his title, because he's going to have about, 20 or 30 other drivers motivated to try and beat him?
Yeah, exactly. It looked like he had the speed out of the box in race 1, and everyone else throughout this season has built up the consistency that is so critical for a championship. So that's everything from this season of OZICAR Formula Vee on SimSpeed. We will be broadcasting next season, so make sure you are following us on YouTube. Make sure you're liking us on Facebook and following on Twitch. Wherever you catch us, that is where you are going to find the season finale of OZICAR Skip Barber Series, same time tomorrow night, and a new season of OZICAR Formula Vee next week. Being David Haynes, Reese Gardner with me, Jay Kennedy on the production, and that is curtains on Season 1 of OZICAR Formula Vee.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got really outside of both of them! Maloney!
He's taking Anderson! Anderson's up to him!
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?